You're in the way. Get out now. Fair enough. Let's go then. What's your name? I'm Kane. I'm a sophomore in college. I just finished all my general education courses and will be majoring in economics next year. I'll start learning specialized subjects soon. Job hunting will kick in, but I'm also considering graduate school. My parents are supportive of either path, which I appreciate. We're financially well off, thanks to my dad building a successful business from scratch. While I don't like to brag about it, we've never had financial issues, and I feel grateful to my parents. Once I find a job, I'm determined to repay their kindness. Despite how good my life might look, I have my own problems. It revolves around my brother and his wife. My brother Rick is 10 years older than me. To be honest, I've never really gotten along with him. Friends have told me that siblings of opposite genders who are more than 5 years apart don't talk much, but Rick and I have always talked a lot. However, we're not exactly close. Hey Kane, go buy some comics for me and get a notebook for studying. Use your own allowance, of course. Oh, and grab a drink too. I've been running errands like this for years. My parents would step in when they were around, but since they both work, I've mostly just complied out of fear. This dynamic hasn't changed even though I'm an adult now. If anything, it feels like it's getting worse. The turning point was last year when Rick got married. He married Stacy, who is the same age as him. Stacy is a beautiful woman, but she's also pretty cold. I didn't like her from the moment we met, and it turns out my instincts were right. You have a sister whose parents are well off. I wonder if Caitlin could give us $5,000 as wedding money. Stacy always seemed to be pressuring me, even though I'm still in school. Thankfully, my parents stepped in. Kate is still a student living at home. The wedding gift money can be the same as ours. Yeah, we'll give a little extra. But my brother and Stacy weren't satisfied. That's not right. You're an adult. Paid up. Exactly. We'll be family for a long time. You need to step up. I ended up just giving them money that my parents gave me to avoid any drama. Frankly, both my brother and Stacy are pretty greedy. I was hoping to keep my distance as much as possible, but they keep showing up at our house despite my wishes. They never miss a chance to take a jab at me for living at home and commuting to college. You're still living at home. You don't plan on being a burden forever, do you? I don't want a sister who's good for nothing. Seriously, even if college is close, it's so uncool. Why don't you move out? That way, we could save on utilities and groceries, plus there'd be more inheritance for us. My brother said all this even though he himself commuted from home to college and even had to repeat 2 years. Stacy's comments were just as bad. My parents are still working and are in good health, but she's already talking about inheritance. It's just insensitive. Anything I'd say would just make them mad, so I've been biting my tongue. But things have gotten even worse. Now they're bringing their stuff into our home for some reason. Despite living only 30 minutes away in a large apartment, they keep hauling in clothes and knickknacks. Rick, this stuff is in the way. Why are you bringing it here? You have your own home, right? My mom finally spoke up. My brother didn't care. This is my home too. What's the big deal? Besides, Kane has more stuff here. Kane lives here. Of course she does, Mom replied. Well, I'm also a child of this house. Don't discriminate between your kids. There's nothing wrong with keeping our stuff here. Stacy is a part of my family, so she's part of this house. Exactly, future in-laws, Stacy chimed in. Rick will eventually inherit everything. Might as well start now, right? They kept ignoring my parents' warnings. One day, as this state of affairs continued, they took it a step further. One weekend morning, I woke up to the sound of heavy footsteps. The house was filled with burly men following my older brother and Stacy as they shuffled stuff around. It seemed like my brother and Stacy had hired them. What do we do with this? One of the men asked. Just leave that. Oh, but take that one away, Rick instructed. Got it. Following my brother's instructions, the men started moving drawers that belonged to my parents and me. They even took my college textbooks and other stuff I use daily. Hey, what are you doing? Stop this now, I demanded. Well, we were hired by them, one of the men replied, nodding towards Rick and Stacy. No matter what I did to stop them, they didn't listen. Even when I directly complained, they just glanced towards my brother and Stacy with puzzled looks. Apparently, they had been hired with a handsome sum. Before I knew it, all the essential items were out of the house. Without pause, everything was loaded into a truck parked outside. Oh, Kane, leave your money, okay? We'll put it to good use. And please take those 2 old folks with you. You can keep your wallet at least. Don't think we're heartless. We've rented a weekly apartment for you to stay with Mom and Dad. 2 weeks' rent is paid. Go there for now. We've arranged for your stuff to be delivered there too. What? You can't. But before I could say another word, they kicked me and my parents out into the yard. I stood there stunned, looking up at the house I'd been sleeping in just minutes ago. But then I snapped back to reality. I couldn't just stand there paralyzed. I'm an adult now, not just a kid who needs protecting by my parents. I guess I'll have to take a break from college. I'll find a part-time job to get by for now. I wonder what happened to my bank book and seal. It would be nice if my brother had put some basic funds aside for me, but I can't just worry all day. The only thing to do is go to the weekly apartment they told us about. It's okay, Dad, Mom. I'm not a kid anymore. Saying this, I looked back at my parents. They must be even more stunned than I am betrayed by my brother. So it's up to me to lift their spirits. My expectations were shattered in a really good way. Huh? When I turned around, both of them were smiling. Well, that went better than I thought, right? Dad said. It happened faster than expected, Mom added. Wait, what's going on? Turns out they had suspected my siblings' scheme all along. From the moment they first moved their belongings, they had anticipated a day like this. But listen, Kane, people like that won't stop no matter what you say. If anything, they'll dig their heels in deeper when faced with reason, Dad explained. Exactly. You can't face people like Rick head-on. Instead, let them think they've succeeded in their little plot. They'll let their guard down. That's when you make your move, Mom added. So this all went according to your plan? I asked, incredulous. Their smiles deepened at my question. Look, your dad didn't build a company from scratch for nothing. It's about time to show you some of the skills that have supported your dad, Kane. I'll teach you what it really means to handle people. They suggested we go to the weekly apartment for now. I thought we were going straight home to confront my siblings, but apparently not. Following Dad's guidance, I walked as if deeply disheartened. I feel like we're being followed, I whispered. Don't worry, Kane. Just act like you don't notice. Types like Rick and Stacy enjoy tormenting their prey. They'll probably report back to someone that we look downcast. Just keep acting disheartened, Mom advised. Heeding their advice, I proceeded to the apartment. Once inside, they announced energetically, okay, most of the plan is a success. Time to counterattack Rick and his gang. On Mom's cue, Dad placed a call. Proceed as planned. He was speaking to a moving company. Additionally, it seemed one of Dad's trusted employees was ready to direct the operation. The movers started pouring into our home. Boss, everything is going as planned. Your son and daughter-in-law seem to be shocked. I expected as much. Carry on. Over the phone, there was a buzz like live commentary. Apparently, the movers had been prepped by Dad on what items to take. The sound of safes and other valuables being moved filled the air. What the heck? You guys bursting into someone's house like this? What's the big idea? Rick shouted. Really? You want me to call the police? Stacy threatened. No, we're just here on the homeowner's request. Hey, excuse me, could you move? You're in our way. Wait a minute, that's my safe with my bank book in it. Where are you taking that? Rick demanded. Your father requested this. He told us to move it to the new house. What's going on? Stacy asked, bewildered. I was just about to check the combination. It's your father's wish. And by the way, Rick, it's telling that you, his own son, don't even know the safe combination. Clearly you're not trusted. Shut up, you're just an employee. Wait, that jewelry belongs to my mother-in-law. What are you doing with it? This is under the vice president's order. We're also taking this to the new home. If you damage it, you'll be billed for it. What? Stop. I can't afford that. Then please don't get in the way. About an hour later, the room quieted down, and I heard one of the employees. Mr. President, Vice President, all arrangements are complete. Sorry to bother you on your day off. It's not trouble at all. Thank you, my father replied. He hung up the phone and turned to me. Let's go to our real home. He led me to a mansion just as lavish as our old home, actually even grander. What is this place? I asked, astonished. Our new home. Yes, Kane, the security is even tighter. Rick won't be able to get in so easily. What about the old house? I quietly sold it. A broker will step in tomorrow. And what about Rick and Stacy? Don't know, don't care. They might get kicked out, but it was never their home to begin with. They'll be fine. Exactly, Kane. Now we've got a busy day with the move. We've got to get it all done by tonight, Mom encouraged. We all started to work, taking stock of the new house's layout and organizing my rooms and the living area. By nightfall, we had finished everything. I was too tired to even think about Rick and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, after a good rest, my parents explained everything. Apparently, they had foreseen this day ever since Rick got married. Rick is just like that, and I suspected Stacy would be the same. So I had a backup plan all along. Originally, I planned to move into this house anyway. It's a secret even from Rick, so we can live here in peace. What about my brother? I can't imagine they'd keep quiet after all this. You're right. It seems like Rick and the gang are quite disgruntled. But we have a top-notch lawyer at our company. It's clear who's in the wrong here, don't you think? Absolutely. It turns out Dad's legal consultant reached out to my brother. If they tried to harm us any further, they'd be sued. Hearing this, my brother gave up on taking over our old home. They were left high and dry. But that's not all. Turns out my brother couldn't land a job after college and was working at our dad's company out of pity. There's no way we're keeping someone like you on staff. You're not my son anymore. You're fired, Dad said. Spurred by this incident, my brother, who had zero skills to begin with, struggled to find a new job. Stacy, who was all about the money, was absolutely furious. Rick, you're useless without money. I want a divorce, she declared, and they got divorced. But Stacy wasn't going to get off scot-free either. Dad talked to Stacy's employer about the whole ordeal. They couldn't keep her on, especially if it meant risking a relationship with an important client. They fired Stacy on the condition that they continue their relationship with Dad's company as before. I can't believe this is happening to me. I was supposed to be the boss's wife, living the high life. All those jewels, that mansion, they were supposed to be mine. Stacy complained, but it was too late. She was also left penniless. Her family knew the situation but had no intention of helping her. They ostracized her instead. Hearing all this made me realize that despite thinking I was grown up, I'd been naive. I still have much to learn from my parents. I must continue to strive, ensuring I never become like my brother or Stacy. Luckily, I still have time before I graduate from college, so I'm going to keep working hard, following my parents' example.